Hey guys, welcome to a very exciting game. This game is played between Quang Liem and Anish Giri in the Bucharest Superbet Rapid and Blitz Championship that is going on currently. And this game was played a couple of days ago. I just decided to take a small break from the Garry Kasparov saga and decided to show the game because this is a pretty interesting and wild game, and Anish Giri had no idea what hit him until the game was almost over. So that's why I decided to show the game. We have Quang Liem, who has the white pieces, and he is a Vietnamese grandmaster, a pretty amazing chess player. And Anish Giri is, well, we all know about him. I don't really have to explain much. He's also a grandmaster. So let's start the game. Lee with the white pieces. We have e4 on the board. And now c5, this is the Sicilian defense. Knight to c3, d6, and knight g2, e2. Pretty standard moves in this variation of Sicilian defense. This is the closed variation. And now knight to f6, a developing move, putting some pressure on the center. And we have g3. The idea is again to fianchetto the bishop, put it on a wonderful diagonal, and have a good control over this diagonal. Also support this centralized pawn. And now knight to c6, a pretty standard developing move. Bishop to g2, g6. Now black wants to do the same thing, trying to fianchetto the bishop on the wonderful dark square diagonal, and he wants to control it that way. Again, this is the Sicilian closed variation, and we have d4. Trying to open up the lines, open up the center. And we have c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight takes d4, queen takes d4, and now bishop to g7. So finally putting this bishop on a nice diagonal, also indirectly attacking the queen. Once this knight moves, the queen will be under attack. But you cannot really immediately move this knight because the queen can capture your bishop and there will be no defense against it. So castles by white and castles by black as well in this position. Now there is a threat of this knight moving to a different square, and then this queen will be under attack. So queen to d3, proactively moving the queen, and now bishop to e6. A nice developing move. It's odd though, we are putting this bishop in front of this e-pawn that is sitting here on this e7 square. But it's completely fine. It's not like it's a mistake or a blunder or anything. It's completely fine because you need this pawn to protect this d pawn on d6. So it's fine. We have bishop to e3 and now knight to g4, attacking the bishop, trying to get rid of this dark square bishop, and then this dark square bishop will nicely control all the dark squares, and it can also remaneuver itself sometimes and come to this position where it will control this diagonal as well. So pretty wonderful idea here. But now bishop to d4, asking if you want to trade off the bishops, I am ready to do so. And knight to e5, declining the trade. He says no, I want to keep my bishops on the board. Anish Giri says that. And now queen to d1. Since the queen was attacked, it comes back to d1, which is the safest square for the queen. We have rook to c8, now putting the rook on the semi-open file that is available, and knight to d5. We have knight to c4, and this is a new move in this position. It has never really been played before in any of the games, at least in the chess database that I use. It's not available. And this is a new move because this exposes this diagonal, the dark square diagonal, and kind of forces matters with bishop captures here on g7. You get king takes g7, and now you even have b3, pushing this knight away. Knight goes back to e5. So the only reason why this knight was moved was to make sure that the bishops get out of the board. But if he wanted to really do that, he could have done it a few moves back. So I don't know, but these grandmasters, they are pretty amazing in the way they think. So you don't know why he played that move. But anyways, we have c4, and now knight to c6. Going back with the knight the knight can now jump into this wonderful d4 square and make it a home for itself, or an outpost. Now he has to move the bishop back. You put the pawn here on e5, and then you can nicely control this square. You can put your you can easily put your knight there, and it's going to be a wonderful knight. And you have queen to d2, rook to e8, and f4, immediately charging up the board. And now g8, king to g8, moving back with the king, and knight to c3, not allowing this captures, because then you will eliminate the knight and you won't be able to contest this knight when it comes to this wonderful d4 square, because you don't have a dark square bishop. So we have queen to b6 with a check, and king to h1, getting the king to safety. This is h1 is a perfect square for the king to be on. And we have queen to d4 and queen to e1, declining the queen trade that Anish Giri offered, because then his knight would nicely have an outpost. And then we have a6. A6 was not really a good move, so it's an alright. It's not a blunder or anything, but there is a better move, and the better move is queen to c5. Just going back with the queen, now keeping some control over this this fifth rank, and also putting some pressure on this, keeping the pressure on this nice diagonal. And because this move was not played, I'm going to show you what happens. Let's just continue this variation and show you what he should have played, what Anish Giri should have played. Queen to d2, and again f6. Now this f6 move is really important, and in the later stages you will understand why. So let's go back. We have a6, this was played in the game, and now rook to d1, immediately attacking the queen. Now we are forced to go back to c5, but it is different because you just wasted a move with this a6, because I don't really understand the purpose of this move. Anyways, we have f5. Now pushing this either you have to capture and then you have to open up some lines, or you don't really have to capture and then your bishop is attacked, so you move your bishop back, which is what Anish does. We have a bishop to d7, and now knight to d5. Now you see this queen is not able to enter into the defense of its own king, because all the possible squares are blocked. So how are you going to bring this queen into the game? And the only possible way that I see is go back here on the b file, the b6 square, and then go back here to d8. From there you're going to go to f8, and only then can you enter the game. And now we have b5. Again, this is not really a good move, but I don't know why Anish Giri is playing on the queen side when clearly all the action is happening on the king side. And if you guys want, you can pause the video and try to find a correct combination for Anish to play in this position. So not moving your b-pawn, but instead what he should have played was f6. And for all of those who found this, pretty amazing, congratulations. And for the rest of us, the reason why he had to find this variation is because now f takes g6, h takes g6, rook takes f6, e takes f6, and now knight takes f6, forking the king and the rook. You have king to g7, knight takes d7, not really capturing the rook, because that would be a mistake. And now queen to a5, offering a trade of queens, and queen to f1, rook to f8, knight takes f8, rook takes f8, and queen to e2. This would have been an okay position for Anish to play, because it's a bliss, so anybody could make a mistake. But instead he chose b5, and this is a completely losing move. So again, if you have some time, pause the video and try to find the correct combination. It starts with c takes b5. Now we have a takes b5, and for those of you who found it, congratulations, because the move that you had to find was queen to d2. Now you are threatening the queen to come here to h file, and then you're going to put your knight here. Of course, not immediately. You're going to push the pawn first, push this pawn, and then once this captures, you're going to put the knight. Then you are forking these two pieces along with a check to the king, and along with that, if you have a queen here, then it's a checkmate on this h7 square. So it's a wonderful, wonderful idea, and I hope you guys were able to find it. We have queen to a7. Of course, now going back with the queen again, leaving this king all alone by himself with not many pieces to defend. Anish Giri is trying to get some counterplay by, I don't know, by playing what? I have no idea why he moved his queen back. Maybe he was trying to get some support to this 7th file, but you have to move 1, 2 and 3 pieces for that. So I don't know what he was thinking. Only he knows. We have f6 immediately as planned, and now king to h8. We have queen to h6. Now the threat is obviously, I hope all of you guys can see, queen to g7 will be checkmate, so you have to play rook to g8. That's the only move that you have. And now f takes e7. Now you are again threatening to get a queen into the game. Or you don't even have to get an actual queen, you just have to threaten it. The next attack will be rook takes f7, and now there is no stopping checkmate here on this wonderful 7th rank. And this queen now has, like I said, it's blocked because it has this bishop in the way, it has this pawn in the way, and this again another pawn. So let's just continue. We have rook to g7. That's the only move and you have to play it. We have rook to c1 and now rook to e8, knight to f6, rook takes e7, knight takes e7, and this is checkmate in 6 moves. So Anish Giri in this position resigned because he knew what followed, and I'm just going to show it to you. If you think you can capture this knight, then you are completely mistaken, because that is checkmate in 1 move. So I hope all of you can find it, and I hope none of you decided to capture, because if you capture, then simply queen to f8 is checkmate. There is nowhere this king can go, neither can any of the pieces block the check. So after knight takes h7, Anish Giri resigned, and he resigned because the next move will be queen to e3. You try to trade off the queen, that is the only possible solution. You get rook to f4, declining the trade. We have queen to c1, queen takes c1 with check. You have to keep prolonging as long as you can. Bishop to f1, queen takes f1 with check, rook takes f1, king to g8, and now I hope all of you will see it. Knight to f6 with a check. The only possible square for the king to go is to f8, and now queen to h8 with a check, rook to g8, the only possible move, and now queen to g8. This is checkmate. So a wonderful, wonderful game, and till this position Anish Giri was completely fine. This is move 26. He was okay, but when he played queen to a7, all of the following moves immediately were played pretty quick, and he had no idea what hit him. But anyways, these things happen during a blitz game, and it's completely fine. This would not have happened if it was a longer time format. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yes, I have taken a break from the Gary Kasparov saga, but tomorrow will be game 5, I promise you that. So till then, I thank all my subscribers for subscribing to the channel. I greatly appreciate the support. That's all from me. Namaste. See you next time.